All right, so today we're going to dive into something pretty wild.
Yeah,
You're a big KTM fan,
huge fan.
and you sent us this article about their financial troubles.
Oh, yeah.
And honestly, when I saw this article, my jaw kind of hit the floor.
I know.
KTM, we're talking about Europe's biggest motorcycle maker,
Yeah.
a company that basically owns off-road racing,
hmm
and they're known for just incredible motorcycle designs. And
Yeah, they've got a great reputation for design.
yeah, so how did they end up in a situation where they might go bankrupt?
Yeah, it is pretty shocking. And the article that you sent, KTM Bankruptcy Crisis 2024, Financial Challenges and Restructuring Efforts.
Right, December 9th, 2024.
December 9, 2024. It paints a pretty serious picture.
Yeah.
KTM is trying to avoid complete bankruptcy,
Yeah.
and they're using this process under Austrian law called self-administration.
So they're basically saying like, hey, we're going to try to fix this ourselves.
Exactly. They're
Okay.
given a period of 90 days to restructure.
Wow. So the clock is really ticking,
It is.
and they've got to figure out how to manage this massive amount of debt, almost 3 billion euros.
Yeah, 2.9 billion to be exact, which translates to about $3 billion.
Wow.
It's a lot of money.
So it's a serious situation, and the article points to some of the moves that KTM made to expand as a possible cause of this situation.
Oh, for sure.
And knowing you're a huge KTM fan.
Yeah.
I'm sure you know about some of these acquisitions like Husqvarna
Oh, yeah, of course.
and MV Agusta.
Yeah, MV Agusta.
How did those acquisitions play into this?
Well, those brands definitely came at a cost.
All right.
And I'm sure it wasn't cheap to integrate them into the KTM family.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just about buying the brand.
Right.
You've got to think about all the different motorcycles they make now.
Yeah, you've got different product lines to manage.
Yeah.
And potentially competing interests within the company.
So it's a lot more complicated than it might seem at first glance.
Exactly.
And we can't forget about all the stuff that's been happening in the world that affects everyone.
Oh, absolutely. The article mentions the sales slowdown after
Yeah.
the pandemic.
Yeah.
That's been tough on a lot of industries.
Yeah.
And for a company like KTM that have been doing so well for so long, that downturn probably hit them extra hard.
Yeah. It's like when you're racing and you hit a patch of gravel when you're not expecting it. It
Right.
throws everything off.
It does.
So to understand how they got here, maybe we should take a look back at KTM's history.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
The article goes into their past, and it's really interesting.
Oh, it's a fascinating story.
It all started back in 1934 with a small repair shop in Austria.
Yeah, in a town called Matterhofen,
Okay.
founded by Johann Trunkenpolz.
Okay. And that's where the name KTM comes from, right?
Exactly. It stands for Kraftfahrzeug Trunkenpolz Matterhofen.
So they started small.
Very humble beginnings.
But even back then, you can see the ambition that would make them successful.
Oh, yeah. Trunkenpolz wasn't content with just fixing other people's motorcycles.
Right.
He wanted to build his own.
He had that entrepreneurial spirit.
He did. And he was really good at spotting opportunities after World War II. When the demand for motorcycles exploded, he was ready.
And in 1951, they launched their very first motorcycle, the R100.
A lightweight bike with a Rotax engine. It was perfect for the post-war market.
Cool.
But they didn't stop there. Throughout the 1950s, they kept expanding.
Yeah.
Started making scooters with the Mirabelle.
Okay.
And they built a solid reputation for making motorcycles that were reliable and well-engineered.
So they were always adapting and innovating.
Always.
Then in the 1960s, they saw that motorsport was becoming really popular,
Yeah.
and they shifted their focus to motocross and off-road bikes.
That was a smart move. They weren't just following a trend. They were becoming leaders in that segment,
Yeah.
which would eventually become their trademark.
And they had a lot of success in racing.
Oh, tons.
In 1974, they won their first motocross championship.
Yeah, that solidified their reputation for making bikes that could handle anything.
And that must have been a huge moment for them.
It was a game changer.
But, even the most successful companies sometimes run into trouble,
It's true.
like their financial restructuring in the early 1990s.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is that they didn't just scale back, they used that time to innovate.
And that's when the iconic Duke was born.
The Duke.
Yeah, and in 1994, this street bike completely changed the market
Yeah.
with its aggressive style and its performance.
The Duke was a huge success for KTM.
It was a game changer, for sure. It brought them a new level of success and global recognition.
And then they partnered with Bajaj Auto in India in 2007.
Yeah, that was a big move.
It wasn't just about making more bikes,
Yeah.
it was about tapping into the Asian market.
Exactly. A truly global vision.
And And they kept winning in the Dakar Rally.
They dominated that race.
They won it 19 times in a row between 2001 and 2019.
It's incredible.
That shows how good their engineering is and their ready-to-race attitude.
Absolutely.
But as we see now, even winning on the racetrack doesn't mean everything's perfect in the business world.
Nope. That's the reality.
So here we are with this current situation,
Yeah.
and knowing their history of coming up with new ideas and adapting to new situations, it makes you wonder what they'll do to overcome this challenge.
It's hard to say for sure. Their past might give us some clues, but the stakes are a lot higher this time.
We'll definitely dive deeper into that and look at what could happen in the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good.
We've talked about how KTM has a history of getting out of tough spots,
Yeah,
but this time it feels different.
you're right.
It's not just about making a few changes to a motorcycle design or finding a new market.
It's way bigger than that.
This is a massive financial challenge for them.
The biggest they've ever faced.
They've got a ton of debt, and they need to figure out what they're going to do next.
It's a make or break moment for them.
And their decisions are going to have a huge impact on the whole motorcycle industry.
Oh, absolutely.
KTM is a trendsetter.
Yeah.
What they do influences other manufacturers and even what people want to ride.
They've always been ahead of the curve.
Take their acquisitions, for example.
Okay.
On the surface, buying Husqvarna and MV Agusta seemed like a smart move.
Yeah, it seemed like a good way to expand their reach.
Husqvarna gave them a strong presence in off-road.
Yeah.
And MV Agusta brought in a bit of Italian flair.
Right.
But the article suggests that those acquisitions might have been too much too fast.
It's possible.
It's a tricky balance.
It is.
Bringing in new brands takes time and money.
And resources.
You've got to really understand the market.
Exactly. And the motorcycle industry is changing so quickly.
Yeah.
There's always a risk that those acquisitions won't pay off.
Especially with everything that's been happening in the world since the pandemic.
Right.
Consumer habits are different. Supply chains are still messed up, and the economy is uncertain.
It's a tough environment for any business.
All of that makes KTM's situation even more complicated.
For sure.
They can't just focus on what's happening inside the company.
They need to look ahead.
They need to anticipate how the market is going to change and position themselves accordingly.
They need to be proactive.
So what could this mean for KTM's future?
Well,
The article talks about restructuring,
yeah,
but what does that actually look like?
it could involve some tough decisions.
Like what?
They might need to simplify their product line,
Okay.
focus on what they're really good at,
Makes sense.
and they might even have to sell off some of their
You
brands.
could raise some cash.
Yeah, to reduce their debt.
That would be a huge change for a company that's been all about growth.
It would be a sign that they're being realistic.
It would be interesting to see how they use their engineering skills and their racing experience if they have to make those kinds of changes.
Yeah, will they focus on off-road, or will they try something new, like electric motorcycles?
Those are the big questions.
The motorcycle industry is on the verge of some major changes,
Yeah.
and KTM needs to be a part of those changes if they want to succeed.
I'm thinking back to the Duke.
Yeah,
That was such a revolutionary motorcycle.
it was.
Do you think they still have that innovative spirit?
I think they do. KTM has a history of pushing the limits.
That's true.
They've never been afraid to try new things.
New materials, new designs, new technologies.
And all that time they've spent racing gives them a lot of data and knowledge that they can use to make their motorcycles even better.
So even though this crisis is forcing them to make some hard choices, it could also be an opportunity for them to reinvent themselves.
Absolutely. Sometimes limitations can lead to even more creativity.
Imagine them coming out with an amazing electric dirt bike.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, and it would dominate the next generation of off-road racing.
That would be a statement.
But we can't forget about the people involved.
Right.
KTM has a lot of loyal employees and a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah.
passionate
Yeah,
fans.
the whole community.
How they communicate their decisions and connect with those people is going to be really important.
You're absolutely right.
It's not just about the numbers
It's about people's lives.
and their emotional connection to the brand.
They need to be mindful of that.
This self-administration period isn't just about fixing their finances.
It's about rebuilding trust.
Yeah, and showing people that they have a plan for the future.
It's about inspiring confidence.
And if any company can do it, maybe it's KTM.
Maybe.
They built their reputation on pushing boundaries and never giving up.
Their ready-to-race motto might be more relevant now than ever.
But the question remains, can they turn this crisis into an opportunity for long-term growth and innovation?
That's what we need to find out.
We'll explore that and look at what this means for the motorcycle industry in the final part of our deep dive. You know, you've been talking a lot about the business side of things,
Yeah.
the finances, the strategy, all that. But I keep thinking about the people involved.
It's important to remember that aspect.
Yeah. KTM isn't just a company.
Right.
It's a community.
It is.
Riders, employees, enthusiasts.
All connected by this passion for the brand.
What does this crisis mean for them?
Well, for the employees, it's got to be incredibly stressful. They're facing potential job losses. Production might stop.
Right. And there's just this general feeling of uncertainty.
It's a really tough situation.
And then you've got all the KTM fans out there.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably wondering what's going to happen to the bikes they love.
Yeah, are they still going to be able to get parts?
What's going to happen to the community?
It's a lot to process.
It really highlights how business decisions affect real people.
Absolutely. It's not just about numbers on a spreadsheet.
It's about people's lives and their connection to something they care about.
Exactly.
So KTM's leadership has a big responsibility here.
Yeah.
They need to handle the situation carefully and be open with everyone.
Transparency is key.
How they communicate with their employees, their dealers, their customers,
Mm-hmm.
it's all going to be critical to maintaining trust.
They need to show that they're in control.
And maybe their ready-to-race attitude needs to evolve a bit.
How so?
Well, it's not just about winning races anymore. It's about bringing everyone together to face this challenge.
Bringing the community together.
Exactly. They need to show that same resilience and determination that they're known for on the racetrack.
Yeah. They need to prove that they're not just reacting to this crisis.
But that they're actively shaping their future.
They're taking charge.
So what could that future look like?
Well, we've talked about restructuring, streamlining,
Mhm.
maybe even exploring new things like electric motorcycles.
But how does all of that fit into the bigger picture of the motorcycle industry?
Well, the motorcycle industry is at a turning point right now.
Yeah.
Consumer preferences are changing, technology is evolving, and there's a growing focus on sustainability.
KTM's situation might be a reflection of these larger trends.
I think it is.
It's a sign of the challenges and opportunities that all motorcycle manufacturers are facing.
It's a wake-up call.
Do you think this could be a turning point for the whole industry?
It could be.
Yeah.
This could force manufacturers to really rethink their strategies,
Yep.
to be more adaptable, to innovate faster.
And to pay closer attention to what riders want.
And maybe KTM, with their history of bold moves and their never-give-up spirit,
Yeah.
could end up leading the way into this new era of motorcycling.
That would be an incredible story.
It would be.
A story of transformation and resilience.
But we have to remember, this is a journey,
It's not over yet.
not by a long shot.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Okay.
I hope this has given you some insight into what's happening with KTM.
I hope so.
It's a complex situation,
Jeez.
and it's still unfolding.
But one thing's for sure, KTM's legacy.
Yeah.
Their innovation, their performance,
Yeah.
their passion for motorcycles.
It's not going anywhere.
It's here to stay.
And their response to this challenge will definitely shape their future.
Absolutely.
And maybe even the future of the entire motorcycle industry.
It's an exciting time to be a part of this world.
It is. So to all you KTM enthusiasts out there, keep following this story.
Stay engaged.
Stay connected to the community.
Absolutely.
And remember, this isn't just a crisis.
It's an opportunity.
It's a chance for KTM to transform and come back even stronger.
And on that note, we'll wrap things up here.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
Until next time.
Ride safe.